What is good, YouTube? Hopefully you're all having a good day, and I'm gonna try and get through this video without being too emotional, but bear with me here. Now, if you didn't hear the news already, well, I don't know where you've been, because you must have been living under a show or something, but just in case if you didn't hear the news, Arrow is officially ending after season 8. Season 8 is going to be Arrow's final season, and it's not going to be a typical 23 per season kind of season like we've always had. No, it's going to be a 10 episode season, which has brought up some many interesting theories as to how the show will end, and that is what we're going to be discussing in today's video, how exactly Arrow is going to end. I have 4 ways that I feel Arrow could end. So before we get to those 4 ways, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel to get more videos like this. Hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a single upload. Like this video, share this video with your friends to show your support. Now let's just get straight into the list, starting off with number 1. The final episode could be a memorial of Oliver. Why would this be a memorial? Because, and this is the most popular theory that has been out there for a while now, even before the show was even announced that it's going to end, because at the end of the Elseworlds crossover, Oliver made a deal with the Monitor in order to save Barry and Kara from dying trying to save reality. The deal was never revealed, but it will most likely be revealed during the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event next season. Many people are theorizing that Oliver's deal with the Monitor was to swap Barry and Kara's lives for his own. There are 2 things that heavily support this. The first thing that support this is the fact that Arrow season 8, which is of course the final season and will only have 10 episodes instead of the usual 23 episodes like I said earlier. The second thing supporting this theory is the fact that the crossovers tend to happen towards the latter half of the first half of the seasons. But with the most recent crossover, that being Elseworlds, that was literally the last episode for each of the shows before the Christmas break. And that was episode 9 of each of the shows. And I think that Crisis will follow a similar pattern. I think for shows like The Flash, Supergirl, Legends, and maybe even Black Lightning, if it's included in the crossover, that they will end their mid-season on the crossover at episode 9 as usual. But for Arrow, they will have 1 more week, and this will be the series finale following the events of Crisis. If Oliver does indeed die during Crisis on Infinite Earths, then I can see the series finale being a funeral where characters are paying tribute to his legacy, and we will see many flashbacks and many, images like slideshows of the past 7 years of Arrow, essentially. This season of Arrow has been doing flash forwards instead of their traditional flashbacks. In these flash forwards, it's clear that something happened that has severely divided the team. What if this severe thing that divided the team was in fact the death of Oliver? Because the flash forwards have yet to actually say to us whether or not he is alive or dead, so it's very possible that their leader, who is no longer with them, is the very reason why they are now split, why they are now apart. It also seems that Felicity has gone rogue too, from what has been said in the flash forwards. I'm pretty sure that if Oliver was still alive, he would have found a way to talk some sense into Felicity from becoming a full-out villain, because that's what has been implied in the show, that she has actually become a full-on villain. Now, the second way that I can see Arrow ending is sort of similar to the first idea, but with a twist. Oliver isn't actually dead. He just pulls a Batman-like stunt from The Dark Knight Rises, where he just lets everyone think he died, but really he quietly retires to go live a life with Felicity away from the spotlight. By doing it this way, it will not only be a great way to end the series, because we'll still be seeing the tribute as I mentioned in my first point, but it will also open the door for Oliver to possibly return in one of the other shows for an episode or so down the road for like a brief cameo or so. Although I don't think we will see Oliver again after Arrow ends. I think Stephen Amell is done fully, but I can be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, because Stephen Amell is my favorite TV actor and Arrow is my favorite TV show of all time. Any show that I've ever watched, comic book, non-comic book, Look, you know what? Yeah, I said I'm gonna try and not get emotional, so let me just move on. Let me just move on. So the third way that I can see Arrow ending is by Star City exiling Oliver from the city. For those of you who are unaware, this actually happened in the comics. I actually have this comic where Oliver was exiled from Star City, but the problem is I can't seem to remember which one it was. Like, I'm trying to remember in my head, like, which issue was it? What was the story? I can't remember fully, but I know I have it because I've read it before. It's somewhere in this house that I'm living in, somewhere in this house, but I need to try and find it. But just know that it actually happened. The whole city found out Green Arrow's identity, something that has already happened on the show, and for one reason or another, they banned him from re-entering. I can see something like this happening in the series finale, but out of the other ways that I've listed on this list already, I think this is probably the least likeliest way the show will end, because it will basically end, because by doing it this way, it's basically ending the show on a cliffhanger. This is the kind of ending that will be best suited for something like a season finale, not a series finale, if you get what I mean. So although I can see this being a possibility, I feel like it's the least likeliest one to happen. Now, the fourth and final way Arrow could end is simply just act as if everything was as normal. By this I mean, Team Arrow will simply just defeat the big bad just like they always do. Then they continue on with their daily lives, they continue on becoming vigilantes and slowly evolve into that future we're seeing in the flash forwards of this current season, Arrow Season 7. And then when it comes to shows like The Flash, Supergirl and Legends, Team Arrow are still operating, but you just won't see them cross over. But the problem with this is, why would Team Arrow just suddenly stop crossing over with the other Arrowverse shows? That is why I feel something definitely happens to Oliver that prevents him from interacting with anyone, whether it's a death or a secret retirement, like I mentioned in my first 2 points. So those are the 4 ways that I can see Arrow ending. What do you think? Have I left anything out? Do you agree with me, or what do you think? Do you think any of these are possible? Let me know what you guys think. Share your thoughts down below in the comments. Now, yeah, I'm just going to miss this show so much. My favorite show of all time, my favorite episode of all time in any show is the season 5 finale. My favorite season of Arrow, season 2. So many things to have to just say about the show. The show has had its highs and the show has had its lows. But when it's had its highs have been very high. I'm gonna miss the show so much. But on the bright side, at the time of this recording, we still have 18 episodes left of Arrow from both this season and the entirety of next season. So that's still 18 more episodes left to consume. So we still got a little bit to go, but I'm going to cherish these moments. I'm just going to hold these last few moments we have with Arrow, because we're not going to get them again by the end of this year. So I'm just going to enjoy them for what they are, and thank you, Arrow, for the last 7 years of entertainment.